जिंदाबाद जिंदाबाद
मजदूर किसान शक्ति संगठन जिंदाबाद जिंदाबाद।
അവകാശാധിഷ്ഠിതമായ നിയമങ്ങൾ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ കൊണ്ടുവന്നതിൽ ഒരു പ്രധാന പങ്ക് വഹിച്ച അരുണ റോയ് നവംബർ 5 തിരുവനന്തപുരത്ത് ഗൗരിയമ്മ പുരസ്കാരം സ്വീകരിക്കുകയുണ്ടായി. പുരസ്കാരം സ്വീകരിച്ചതിന് ശേഷം അരുണ റോയ് എമൻ സ്മാരകം സന്ദർശിക്കുകയും കനലിൻ്റെ ചില ചോദ്യങ്ങൾക്ക് മറുപടി നൽകുകയും ചെയ്തു. നമസ്കാരം. അരുണാജി, the right to information law or the RTI law is one of the most important laws passed in India. The law has now completed 20 years. What is its most positive aspect and what is the biggest threat it is facing now?
You can say its biggest achievement has become its biggest threat because it's really put the fear of God into the establishment and about the privileges they enjoyed, especially of the privilege of not disclosing information because they felt that if they were in positions of authority, they didn't have to do it. So this business has been completely exploded today because the highest authorities have been questioned and have had to answer. So in that case, its success has turned the establishment into worse enemies and it's been systematically attacked. Within a few months of the passage of the law, in 2006 itself was the first attempt at amendment. Then subsequently there was another attempt at amendment, and then now this new government has tried to pass laws which are sometimes not under the purview of the RTI, or as with the DPDPA, they have set in motion certain processes like third-party fiduciaries.
Yeah.
So if you say third-party fiduciary is important, then I can't ask for information about anybody. And I have to get the permission of that person before I access that information. If there is a corrupt patwari, he's not going to give me permission, no?
Yeah.
So you've really stymied the whole thing. So in a sense, it is in the name, but the cleverness is in the name of protecting data, and Data Protection Act it's called. It's not protecting data, it's ensuring that people do not have access to data that will be in their favor and expose corruption and demand justice. So we are fighting that, the DPDPA. We fought against the main act, then we fought against the rules. Now the rules is what we are now fighting against. So let us see what happens with that.
Okay.
But 40 to 60 lakh users every year of the RTI. RTI, no one knows where it came from, no one knows who originated it. Those stories are irrelevant for people. What people know is that there's a right, and if I put in an application with the 15 rupee fee, I am entitled to get information and what the process must be. So it's spawned extraordinary amount of efforts, especially now in the RTI Mela we held in Biawar on the 12th of October last month in 2025. We found there were so many extremely imaginative users of the RTI. There are many ingenious ways in which many people and many state governments have got involved with the RTI. If you look at two young people just decided to, because it cost them money to put up the website, cost them money to do all this facilitation, they started a website in which they said people should pay a certain amount of fees for the cover the cost, and they would draft their RTI, put them in the right places, because very many places it's online now.
Yeah.
And they would help them access that information. That's one way of doing it. There are others who actually sit and help you draft the application. There are people who do it voluntarily, people do it for honorary reasons, some people charge a small fee. That's one way of doing it. People themselves have started filing in huge numbers, and it's all invisible because if you sit in a city, you don't see them. There are the people who apply for pensions, Narega wages, for medical facilities, for subsidies which they don't get, for school education, for certificates from the panchayat. There are many different kinds of things, also health, women's rights, Dalit rights, so many ways in which it has come. And actually, because the RTI by definition is nothing, it has to attach itself to an issue and and a particular kind of oppression, then it becomes relevant. So as many kinds of oppression there are, so many kinds of RTI applications have been made. Certain states, and I'll mention this because I'm in Kerala. In Kerala, public-spirited civil society people actually have formed groups in all the districts, and they meet once a month, and they all honorary, and they all take up, either they take up very critical issues or facilitate the taking up of critical issues or issues, and they are all passionate about it. So passionate that in a meeting, if you sit, you may never get up. It's that passionate. In Tamil Nadu, similarly, civil society has been involved with raising these issues, and actually, so in both the southern states, it's not activist campaign at all. It's a citizens campaign. Okay. And in Tamil Nadu, they also do trainings. They regularly do trainings, and they are completely, just like in the Tamil Nadu group which I met in Beaver recently, it's as if it's given them a purpose in life, where politics has let them down, political parties are not performing, but at least through this you can access democracy and make democracy function for the people who are poor. It's the kind of message they gave me. Rajasthan, we have it through the NREGA, of course, it's had a huge impact, because under MG-NREGA, public information being disclosed is part of the after campaign. Yeah. So the information is disclosed, and you have also social audit under the MG-NREGA. Social audit is when information is displayed and verified, and then you call the government to sit, and then you have a proper testifying before the government about what has gone wrong. In two state governments, the government of Rajasthan, the government of Karnataka, Section 4 of the Act has been put on a website. The Rajasthan website is called Jan Suchna Portal. You don't have to pay anything. There are no administrators, and online information is there ready to see. If there's a transaction in a ration shop, you can see that. Okay. Mining licenses are all there, and 135 departments of government have got information up. In fact, I think there may be more now. Sensitive information is also up, even about police stations. Investigations are not there, but basic information is there about police stations as well, about health institutions, about everything. It's got some 20 million hits. So it's a website that's being used. Yeah. So it's brought out all kinds of creativity, because when Rajasthan was digitizing, government was digitizing its information, the campaign went straight through and said, if the first thing you'll digitize is Section 4, then you do what you like. Okay. And Maiti, I don't know what the Karnataka, I'm sorry I can't recollect what the Karnataka website is called. And there also the same process is followed, and they're also doing it now. Telangana is thinking of it. Kerala should also have it actually. Okay. If you are a state with so much literacy, if you put up that website, then you don't have to struggle, and the amount of applications you get also drop, because you get that information, people don't apply for information. But it means that you have to have online information. And then Rajasthan, civil society sat with each department. Specialists, like for instance, if we were looking at mining rights, the campaigns that were working with mining sat with the mining department. If we were looking for Dalit information about Dalit rights, then people who were working with Dalit rights sat with the information about atrocities, about police station misbehavior, about this, that and the other. Then the government sorted it out according to departments and put them everywhere. It was like a democracy at work. It was very exciting to be part of that process.
How did you ensure that governments cooperated with you, especially BJP governments? There are complaints that BJP governments do not cooperate with activists and such initiatives. So how did you ensure their cooperation?
Actually, you can't just take a completely contradictory position. You have to work through, you have to identify sympathetic civil servants, even sympathetic politicians, and you've got to look at technology that can suit you. You can look at technologically competent institutions which will get involved with this campaign. You have to look at some patron who will give some funds to facilitate the travel of some of these people to certain places. It's a huge, gigantic exercise, but it's possible. Okay. Because in our case, in Rajasthan, it was when the Congress government was in power. Yeah. And Ashok Gehlot promised us this website, and on Gandhi Jayanti Day, he released it about 3-4 years ago. So but to get the officers to work also sometimes was difficult. But once they caught on to it, there was so much enthusiasm that it carried on. And I think, none of these entities, whether it's civil society or whether it's government or whether it's political part of the government or of the bureaucratic part of the government, it's not one solid mass.
No.
There are many perforations in many peoples. So if you can get to them, then you can work out methods by which it can be done. The negative part of the campaign that has happened is that Government of India wanted this law set aside the moment they became rulers in 2014. The NDA said they wanted to rescind both the NREGA and the RTI. They said the RTI has led to policy paralysis.
Yes.
Point is, it has not led to policy paralysis. It has led to questioning on critical issues which have put up the backs of people. You know that more than 150 people have been killed asking for right to information. And these people have all touched on very big issues on very raw nerves, and with the exposure of which would have led to huge, maybe conviction, maybe jailing, being incarcerated, may have led to all kinds of things. So rather than that, those people have killed these guys. So that has been a huge critical issue. And of course, there is the protection syndrome that's come in now. Even courts have now become softer with people who deny information than before. And it's been difficult to even get the courts to come in support of us. Some very good judgments were given. Justice Muralidhar and Justice Shah and all had given some extraordinarily good judgments. Some good judgments also come, but there are negative judgments also. Because power does not want to be held accountable at any point of time. So there is this extraordinary situation where we wanted to know about somebody wanted to know about whether the Prime Minister's graduation certificate, postgraduate certificate, they wanted to see it. That has still not been shown to us, and the commissioner who declared that it should be shown was sent off.
Yeah.
So there are issues where the commissions have been weakened steadily. Commissions now no longer independent. They have all been taken under the various departments of government, with the result that they're all like government officers. They're paid salaries and they are, ruled by the ministry concerned. The whole notion of oversight and monitoring, which is primary to democracy, has been hugely threatened, because all oversight organizations, including the CAG, but Right to Information Commission, the Right to Human Rights Commission, the Women's Rights Commission, you name it, and including the Election Commission, government has abrogated all the independent capacities they had to oversee, overlook, and therefore critique the working of government. And that's been a huge loss. And I think this is where state governments and political parties should fight much, much more, because this is a political fight. It's not just an information fight, because if you don't have oversight organizations, then the whole system of democracy gets terribly weakened, and it allows for all kinds of issues to be raised. So I think that has been very detrimental, and also many new laws have, as I said, have been in the process of making the law. It's been declared that they are not under the purview of the Right to Information Act. They have not set aside the Secrecy Act yet, it still prevails. And of course, the general tenor of democracy has changed so much that the right to freedom of expression is so much under threat in so many critical areas. And right to information, when you ask for rations, it's a critical area for the ration shop dealer, then he beats you up. But if it is not, he gives it to you. But at least at a theoretical level, no one will say a ration shop should not tell you how much ration has been distributed in your name. But when you come to more critical issues, all kinds of political leverage is done about necessity for it's a nationalist issue, it's a terrorist issue, or it's a that issue, or this issue. And so under the smoke screen of that kind of argument, a lot of things which are incorrect can happen. So this government has been trying to whittle away at both NREGA and RTI, but RTI more specifically.
Rights-based laws such as RTI, they came into being through the grassroots movement, largely outside Parliament. But now, as you suggested, Digital Personal Data Protection Act, similar other legislation, you suggested that the government is trying to dilute the RTI through similar laws, which is happening within Parliament. So how do you plan to resist such moves? Because the law has already been passed, but it has not been ratified yet. The rules have not been notified yet. So how do we, once the rules are notified, it will come into being. How do you propose to resist such measures by the government?
I don't have any magic wand in my hand, and we have best worked as a big collective.
Okay.
So the solutions will only come from collective debate and discussion.
Okay.
I mean, I can hazard, but I really think what we really need now, like when the demand for the RTI was a huge, I think a political movement which led to the demand for the RTI. I think the users have become so myopic now that they only look at their own little issues. So the 40 lakh, there are between 40 to 60 lakh users every year. If even 2 lakh of people in India stand up against a law, it has no scope. But they are not able to see. But the artfulness of the government is, it is not saying
Correct. Yeah.
that I will revise the law or I will rescind the law, but it's putting in another clause. And these clauses, to unravel what the clause means, to understand how it's going to negatively impact you, takes a lot of research and work. Whereas ordinary users of the law may not have the skills and the capacity to do this super fine analysis, to find out how it's going to impact them as users of the law. So I think shows like this, communication like this is very, very important, and I think there should really be small classes held. And in Kerala you have the RTI campaign, and they can tell you in very great detail how exactly the DPDPA is going to hurt and impact the RTI, and where are the clauses. And we are just asking one clause or a section of the act to be set aside. We are not asking for the whole act to be set aside. Now what does it mean? How does it implicate every single user of the law? That I think Kerala can easily do through your channel, through any other channel. And it's just an educational process, legal education about what is happening with the law. Many other laws have also suffered. The labour laws have suffered. There's so many other laws that have been. So now we call it lawfare, like warfare.
Okay.
We call it lawfare, which means that through law you wage war.
Okay.
So the present dispensation has understood how to use law to cut the earlier laws, even laws to cut the basic constitutional guarantees that have been given to us. So I think, this is a process of attrition. And as Socrates said, as Bertrand Russell said, as so many others have said, so many political scientists have said, power will not allow itself and its impunity to disappear. So power will always fight to retain its impunity. So this battle of just getting an act is not the end. And this is where I think many users make a mistake. They'll have to keep the act, protect the act, and fight periodically for its continuation. Because governments change, political arguments change, political parties change, but people are the same. The people must know how to fight and struggle and resist these various attempts to change the law.
When the UPA was in power, there were regular interactions with you through councils like the National Advisory Council, NAC. With the current government, do you have any regular engagement? Is there any scope for that?
No, largely not.
Okay.
There may be one or two small discussions by some of the officers, but largely they have not been permitted, I think. I don't know for a fact.
Okay.
But I think they have not been permitted to engage with civil society. And civil society is seen as a disruptor, whereas actually civil society is the reason why a healthy democracy survives. Even if we look at all these extremely important political formations like the Eastern European communist countries, they didn't fall because of their ideology. They fell because of their inability to cope with with corruption and to a certain degree with allowing, really making it a people's dictatorship of the proletariat. The dictatorship of the proletariat really means that the people have to understand what's going on so that they can stop power from overreaching itself. I think these are the defects. So totalitarianism is not necessarily only associated with communism. It's associated with capitalism.
Yeah.
What's happening in the US or what's happening in many of our countries now.
Yeah.
It's all totalitarianism. You're just arbitrarily removing or putting in things without any reference to the people's mandate. So I think we also have to grow and mature as countries. We have to understand that if we want to retain what we have already got, we must learn to fight for it.
You mentioned totalitarian regimes. Several parts of the world we see the rise of totalitarian regimes, and also in countries like Israel, America, the rise of authoritarian powers. So one question I frequently come across is, how do I become a good citizen in a bad state? What is your answer to this?
I will just say one thing, and that is, in my opinion, a key, that just fight for your right to question.
Okay.
And demand answers, either through the RTI or without the RTI. In a democracy, I am the sovereign, and a representative goes to represent me in various places in the hierarchy. If I want my sovereignty to exist in a democracy, which is my fundamental right, then I have the right to ask questions. So what have you done with my money? What have you done with policy? What have you done with this or that? I retain that right. So the right to question, which was actually mandated and made completely, about the people and made completely legal by the RTI, is what really irks them the most. Because no longer can they put people in jail because they've asked a question, which they did with impunity before.
Yeah.
So in a sense, both these things, my understanding and your question, come together in the act of asking a question, which means speaking truth to power. If we don't speak truth to power, power cannot be truthful, and there is no democracy.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.